Every Learner Matters has been established to encourage global conversations around the theme of inclusion and equity in education. We know from recent estimates, for example, that something like 270 million children around the world receive no education, presumably because where they live there are no schools, there are no teachers. What we don't know with any accuracy, however, is how many millions of children start school, drop out, become excluded, or in other ways marginalised within the system. So these conversations are intended to look at what's happening around the world and to make comparisons so that we can learn from one another. The idea of this global conversation emerged from a visit I made some months ago to Australia. And whilst I was there, I had the privilege of visiting schools, talking to teachers and children and families, and finding out what was going on. And I saw many examples of good practice. Schools that are doing wonderful things, very creative teachers that are trying to reach out to all children and young people in their local communities. But as I talked to people, I also heard about the sorts of barriers that they were experiencing as they tried to move in this more inclusive direction. Many of those barriers seem to be associated with policies. And as in all countries, educational policy in Australia is very complicated. You've got national policies, but you've also got state policies. You've also then got separate forms of state schools, some of which are more desirable than others. As a result, it creates a kind of competitive environment. And of course, some families and some young people do very well out of it, others don't, and some do extremely badly out of it. As a result of this visit, I sent an email to various colleagues in different parts of the world to explain what I'd seen and heard and what it made me think about, particularly in terms of my own country. You see, going to another country acts like a mirror. It makes you think about your own country. And in a way that I hadn't anticipated, my email triggered off a whole series of discussions amongst other people who talked about what I was saying, sometimes agreeing, sometimes disagreeing, but also then started to compare their own ideas as they thought about what was happening in their own country in the light of what I was saying about what I'd witnessed in Australia. So this is the simple idea that we're trying to create in Every Learner Matters. We should say that we stole the title from a UNESCO handbook that was published in 2017. It's a guidebook for ensuring inclusion and equity in education. You can find it free in different languages on the UNESCO website. The committee that formed that guide came up with this motto, and it was a simple one. They simply said, every learner matters and matters equally. It's a motto, it's a principle. Every learner matters and matters equally. So we've taken part of that title for this global conversation. We hope by listening to colleagues from different parts of the world, we'll think about our own countries and our own situations in the spirit of that principle. Every learner matters and matters equally.
We know that every learner matters, but what can we do about this? Through these conversations and any actions that follow them, we hope to raise the profile of inclusive education and to demonstrate to policymakers and school leaders that there is a global demand for more inclusive, engaging, inspiring, and relevant education systems. To facilitate this, there will be 4 one-hour online meetings each year, the first of which will explain the rationale for Every Learner Matters and agree a structure for each conversation. This will be followed by 3 further meetings, each of which will focus on an analysis of developments in one country. They will involve carefully chosen speakers with insider knowledge of policy developments in their country who will make short presentations to stimulate discussion. Each case study of practice will then be considered through 4 questions. Is the education system being considered adequately preparing all learners to thrive in a complex and changing world? How far are existing educational policies fostering inclusion and equity in education? Are these policies working for all children and young people? And if not, what are the barriers and how might these be addressed? Through these questions and discussions around them, we hope to examine the root causes of exclusion from education and present potential ideas to those in the position to make transformative change.
So, how we're going to do this? The Every Learner Matters project is hosted by the Staff College, which is based in the United Kingdom. Through the Staff College, we've created a dedicated website where recordings of each of the individual conversations will be posted and available to all. For 2026, we think February, March, June and September are the most likely dates for the current series of conversations. At the end of each annual cycle, the three of us will create a series of think pieces which will be published by the Staff College and again openly available. Our main means of communication with all of you will be through the website and its mailing list. So if this series of conversations are of interest to you, whether you be a researcher, a practitioner or indeed a policymaker, please join us, sign up, and we hope to see you at the first conversation.